Hi, thank you for joining me for day 7 of 30 Days of Sketches with Christie's Beautiful Life. And today's sketch has been created by Cheryl Ashcraft. I'll leave it in the top left-hand corner there. And I'm going to be documenting some photos from our recent summer holiday trip to the island of Herm. And we had one day trip out to Guernsey, where we went out for a gorgeous meal to a Bangladeshi restaurant called Dhaka. And these photos are inside that restaurant, and it was a really bright, vibrant place, so I wanted to capture that with the layout. So I'm using Vicki Boutin's Where To Next collection, and you can see I've pulled out that tealy blue grid. It looks like a cutting mat to me and that's going to be my base. And then on this sketch you can see there are 2 semicircles, and I'm going to be using that circular patterned paper to create those. The circle on the left hand side is larger than the circle on the right, it's bigger than a semicircle, so I'll trim my paper accordingly. First of all though, I'm just matting my photos onto some black cardstock. This is just some scrap cardstock that I've got to hand, just to make them pop a little bit more. There's a photo of me and Amelia, there's a photo of Ross and James, there's one that I took from the internet which shows the seating that we were on, and a photo of our food. So the first 3 photos will go down the left-hand side of that circle, and then the last one of the food will go on the right-hand side. So I'm just trimming around this circle. I wanted to make it as big as possible, so I'm keeping some of that grid, the cream grid that's on the background, on it. And there we have it. So it's slightly smaller than the sketch, because Cheryl's sketch, the circle starts at the top and goes down to the bottom rather than on the sides. But working with what I've got and I really wanted to use this paper. It's got all the colours of the restaurant in it, so it worked really nicely. And then I'm going to use this piece that's left over to add onto the right hand side. So just trimming this just under the outside of the circle here along that black line. And that's the basic basis of the layout. So now I'm just going to distress the edges of both these circles, just to give a bit of texture, and then I can work out where to go from there. So that's roughly the positioning that I'm having. I just wanted to create a few more mats behind the photos at the top and bottom of this stack. So just using the scraps that I've got left over, this is the reverse of that circle paper, and just using that to create half a mat on one side, and then I'll pull in another scrap to create another mat. So deciding to put that at the bottom rather than the top, just so that it mirrors what I've got going at the top rather than copying it. So getting those stuck down, and then like I say, I can bring another paper in. So I decided to go with this orange because I really wanted to get the bright, vibrant feel of the restaurant in this. So just trimming this down, and again, I'm offsetting it. I'm not making it as a full mat because we've got an offset piece underneath as well. So deciding to glue this circle down just so that I can keep going. And you can see my photos are in a different position from the sketch, but this is the way it worked for me. Use a sketch to your advantage using what you have and making sure that it's still you, excuse me, you when you scrap. So you still want it to be a design that would be recognised as yours. I love sketches because they definitely take me in a different direction, but you can still tell that all the layouts are mine. So just layering those photos up again, as you saw, I was just scuffing the edges to create that distressed look. I wanted another mat for this bottom photo. I slightly overestimated how much I needed. So just trimming the corner off. I didn't want a curved edge on that scrap of paper, so I was just trimming that corner off just to make it more square. Distressing these edges, and then I can stick it down to the blue, trim off the excess, and that will create that extra mat on that side. And this is a great way of using up scraps again. You can see that was just a small bit of blue that I had left after die cutting the stars for a previous layout. So again, just using my edge distresser. This is an absolute must in my toolkit. You'll see I use it all the time. So while I'm doing this, please do remember to check the description box down below to see everybody else who's joining in on this hop. There's a playlist that Christie's created for us, and I'll also add any details for Cheryl that I can find as well, who's the sketch creator. So now I'm just adding some pom-pom trim around that circle. I just really wanted to get the bright, vibrant feel as I mentioned before. So I thought this yellow pom-pom trim would be a great addition. So just slowly going around, and I'm adding glue to the base, and then I'm adding glue to the top of the trim just to get it stuck down. I won't make you watch all of this, I will fade out in a second, just to give you an idea of how I do it. So that's all down, and I want to focus on this right hand stack. Just checking that everything's in place. Oh no, first of all I want to get these stuck down, so I'm using my Sticks 2 foam pads. These are the 25mm foam pads that they sell on a roll, and I just chop them up and put them in this storage box, which is really handy. They're absolutely brilliant to use. So just getting 4 on each photo, and then I can get them stuck down because I know where they're going to go, so there's no point in waiting. And I'm just slightly offsetting them against one another. I like having them at a slight angle. It just brings more movement into the page. It's such a bright, fun page that I don't want everything to be straight. So just peeling those backings off. And the one in the centre is overlapping the other 2 photos slightly. So now I can work on that right hand section. So just getting the piece stuck down first, and I'm sticking that right to the bottom of the page, and then doing the same again with my photo, using those foam pads to get that stuck down. Also makes it easier for tucking things around as well. So now I'm going to start embellishing. I start on the 6x12 chipboard sheet, and I find this bike, and because we were sitting on a pedicycle table, it was a pedicycle that had been converted to a table, I thought that would be fun to add. And then I'm adding this chipboard piece that says Paradise Found, and then on the left hand side a piece that says Best Experience, because it really was a fantastic experience. Now I've pulled out this piece that says Discover New Places, because of course it was a day of discovery. I've been to Guernsey loads of times as a child, but Ross and the kids hadn't really fully explored it, so it's really nice to take them there and have a wander around. We just stayed in St Peter Port. The weather wasn't brilliant, but it was just great to get out for the day. So another piece from the ephemera now, which says New Places, and then I find this piece that says Around Town, and because that's what we did all day, I thought that would be great as my title. So then I found this piece that says Tourist, and of course we were, so that works, and then a tag, and I thought that would be great to bring some height into that right hand side. So it was a bit too big to sit neatly behind the photo, so I'm just chopping the bottom off, and I can use that another day for journaling. So just getting that situated, and then I decide that the title is better elsewhere, so I've just moved that out the way for now. So just scuffing up the edges again, using my nails because I was too lazy to reach for the edge distresser, which is right there next to my scissors. And then a ticket from the ephemera pack again, and I'm going to cut this in half lengthways so that I can use half under this photo and then half under the photo of Ross and James. So just getting that in place, and then that's where the other piece will go. So this title, I decided it was a bit too long like that with all the pom-pom trim and things. It was going to be difficult to stick over the top, so I cut it in half, and first of all I think I'm going to put one on each side of the pom-pom trim, but then I realised that it would be better stacked, and that's where it's going to go. So I'm going to start gluing things down now. So New Places is going down, then the ticket, and then I'll focus on that title, the tourist piece, and just tuck that neatly underneath the bottom of that circle there. And then this title. So just checking that I'm happy with the positioning. I'm bringing in some seam binding. This reminds me a lot of sari silk, so I thought it'd be really nice to bring in, and I wanted to bring in that bright blue again. So just adding a couple of dots of glue underneath the tails just to keep it in position, but still so that it gives plenty of movement and looks like it's running free. And then sticking down this title, as I say, just using my wet glue, and I'm bringing my T-square ruler just to check that it is all straight. With all the different lines around that circle, it's easy to get it wrong. And just moving that word town across a little bit. I'd stuck it a little bit too close to the photos. So now back into the 6x12 sticker sheet, and I find this rosette that says best idea, and also an arrow pointing to the other photo. This sticker says on the menu, which is perfect for the food. There's that rosette that I was talking about. And then I remembered I hadn't glued that ticket down, so just getting that stuck down. And then this is a little dinner plate with a knife and fork, and again, it works with the photo. So now onto the sticker book, and just seeing what I can find straight away. An orange bulldog clip, which I think will work really nicely on that photo of Amelia and I. So I add that to the top, and I do want to layer it with some other bits, so I will be looking for other bits and pieces to add there. This piece says downtown. I do actually move that shortly and add this bracket piece, which I think works nicely up there. So the downtown just moves to the bottom, and that looks good there. And then behind that I want to add a little tab, which I'm going to roll a date stamp onto just to give the date. So another arrow to go with that first one, and then a couple of puffy hearts from the puffy sticker sheet. So just layering them there. I do actually move them. I think I moved that yellow one on top of the photo at some point. I really wanted to get some of these tickets in from 49er Market because they have Guernsey on them, which is where we were. So that had to be done. So just getting it tucked underneath that title, and then adding a bead of glue just to hold it in place. And because I've got one there, I wanted to bring a few more in. So I've got one that I'm just going to use the reverse of on this bottom right hand photo. And then I've got that little one that says admit one, and it's two little admit one tickets, so I cut that in half. Half that gets used on that photo of Ross and James, and then the other half to the right of the bicycle photo at the bottom there. And it's just dotting that yellow around the page as well. So now I'm going to add my journaling. It doesn't show up greatly, but it shows up enough. You can read it, and it just says, we decided to have a day trip over to Guernsey as the kids had never been. After a mooch around St Peter Port, it was time for lunch, and we decided Dakar looked fun. The food was absolutely amazing. We sat at this table, a converted pedicycle, such fun. So bringing in a bit more of that American seam binding, just tucking pieces behind the photos, just to bring in that fun, bright colour element. Like I say, it does remind me of sari silk, so I think it works with this. It was a Bangladeshi restaurant, so I do like the feel of that. So first of all, a couple of yellow pieces. And then I'll come in with some pink as well. So we've got that blue on the right hand side, pink and yellow. So bringing in the brightness there. And then I wanted to bring in some gold, so of course gold watercolour splatters on the agenda. So just bringing in my very narrow, thin paintbrush to get some little splatters all over the place. And while I'm doing this, I'm thinking, what else can I do? And then I remember my Nuvo crystal drops. So you'll see in a minute, I'm going to bring those in abundance to get that real Indian feel. So first of all, going in with this bright pink, and I'm just adding dots all the way around that circle. And this really amps up the feel. So there, all the way around now, just filling in the bottom. I was able to get the dots right the way around. And then I'm going to come in with orange and do exactly the same, but offsetting them against the red ones. And then when the orange is done, I'm coming in with yellow, and again offsetting them, and I'm having to be careful in the middle because I've got my journaling. And then I decide I need some blue, so come in with the blue. This doesn't show up incredibly well against the blue, but you can see it, and it just adds to the mood and feel of the page. And then finally gold, and this time I'm dragging them out like a teardrop shape all the way around, just to show that that's the finish of all these dots, and it really does amp up the feel of this page. I was so happy with doing that. I come in with my black now to add inside the circle, and just dot that all the way around the inside of the circle on that pale beige grid. And then I'm going to go in with gold around the smaller circle. And that is it. Thank you so much for joining me, and I shall see you tomorrow for day 8. Thanks again. Bye.